Welcome, everyone. It's Faisal on the air tonight, and welcome to Midnight Coffee with Faisal. For those who are viewing it live, please shout out in the box as to where you are viewing this live from. Yeah, say hi, and let's see because it's going to be a very interesting journey. And for those who are first time joining us on Midnight Coffee, please know that Midnight Coffee is a very laid back chit chat session between me and my guest that I invite every week. We will talk to ordinary people that are taking extraordinary actions. Yeah, and some of them really go extra mile. Yeah, to pursue their personal and also professional career. Right. For those who are joining us first time or joining me first time, my name is Faisal. Yeah, I am an independent management consultant and also a business project management coach that help clients to implement solutions. The reason why I said business project management is that many times when I introduce myself as a project management coach, people have the perception, people have the perception that project management is very much related to construction industry or maybe in the IT industry. And yeah, technically, project management is not new. Yeah, project management is not new, and it started during the scientific management era, where it was developed by engineers. Yeah, to manage the scheduling and control of the logistics. Yeah, but what happened is that organization facing a lot of changes, and the business landscape is moving very fast because of the speed of change. Organization need to move from the traditional way of managing into a more agile and adaptive way in managing their businesses. Yeah. So project management actually, project management do provide organization with a way out because as you know, 2019 the whole world seems to stop. Yeah, the pandemic, COVID-19, has rather reset the whole world, and everybody is looking for new ways of managing their business because there is no more SBAU. That means there is no more business as usual because we are managing in a very unusual way during the pandemic. Yeah, so organization are looking at management model, business model. Yeah, trying to survive, trying to sustain their business, and trying to remain afloat. Hence, with the new business model, they must look at a new way of managing their organization. So, project management do to a certain degree allow organization to have a new management model which is more agile and more adaptive. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me. So I'm looking forward to hear where you are viewing this from, and please shout in the box. And I can see that Yerik, uh, Yerik, you are from Kazakhstan. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad to see you as well here. Yeah. Yerik is one of a good friend of mine, and who is in, and I always meet him in Kazakhstan. Okay, and so what we'll do is that sorry for the click error. Okay, again, Yerik, glad to see you also. Yeah. Okay, now, as I said, organization is facing a lot of changes in the business landscape. excuse me. So organization face a lot of changes in the business landscape, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of complexity that we are facing, and a lot of ambiguity running through the organization. So many companies, yeah, that is running projects based, facing a lot of issues. And tonight, yeah, tonight we will be talking about event management, yeah. Event management and event planning. And most of the time, the business during the pre-pandemic, the business is as usual, where you have a face-to-face. We have a lot of people in the conference room or conference hall and all those things. But during the pandemic, with the travel restriction, with the restriction on the number of people that can be in the same room and all those things, and during the lockdown, so I believe project event management has taken a new direction, yeah, in terms of the new direction. So what I'm going to do is that I have a special friend, a special guest, which is a very close friend of mine, yeah, a very dear friend of mine, and I will let her introduce herself. So what I'll do is that we'll bring her on board, yeah. Um, hello, Seema. Welcome to Midnight Coffee with me.
Hello,
How are
Dr.
you?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm doing great. Thank you. How about
Oh,
yourself?
I'm doing fine. I'm good. I'm good. And it's lovely to see you again after not seeing you for quite some time, quite a bit, for a few years. I think. We
Yes,
have not,
that's right.
yeah.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
No.
It's really a pleasure. I mean, usually I am on the other side. Usually I am hosting or inviting the speakers. So this will be a first for me. So, yeah, it's just a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Oh, no, the pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine. Okay, so Stima, can you like introduce yourself to the audience and as to who you are and uh, what what are things that you do? I mean, please.
Sure. Okay, so just a brief background about myself. My name is Seema, and I'm originally from Baghdad, Iraq. But I have grew up and lived most of my life here in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia. So yeah, I think I did most of my studies in Malaysia. So I started my bachelor's degree in interior architecture, and then I decided to pursue my master's in project management. And
Mm.
I mean that's how we met. And I think you were my I think everyone's favorite professor. Yeah, and also during my studies, I was doing my studies. I was also working part time with the university. So I started off as the student ambassador. I'm not sure if I can count that as my first job, but it is. So part of that involved a lot of planning and organizing events. Mostly, we used to do like cultural events and fundraising events, and a lot of education fairs as well. So I guess I could say that's where I realized my passion for events generally started. Yeah.
Okay, I see that you started on a different on a different field, right? If I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, it's on the interior architecture, right? What happened?
Well, I mean, I am glad I managed to figure out early at an early stage. So after my studies, I did work for about a couple of years in the interior architecture field.
Mhm.
Although yes, I love everything about it. It's just perhaps I realized I was missing some passion there. Yes, and so while I would say I am not so much on the creative side. So I was more into, I was very much excited. Like I remember when we used to go to site visits and meeting with clients. That was my favorite part of the job.
Yeah.
So it was always about meeting with stakeholders and engaging with them and having to manage projects. But of course, as a junior in interior architecture or design, you don't get to do that much. So yeah, I realize it perhaps was not that exciting for me. And yeah, so I used to like I was much better in the technicalities, learning different softwares, programs, and all. But when I was handed over a design to do a concept board, then that's when I would freeze.
Oh,
So yeah, I realized I was more interested in the management side of it, and I guess perhaps that's when I took in the masters in project management to further my studies, and at the same time um, found my passion in the event industry.
yeah, yeah. And I believe that you are now pursuing uh, PhD.
Yes, correct. That has been put on hold for some time, but yeah, the plan definitely is to continue pursuing it. Hopefully next year or so.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that has been a bit overwhelming.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, doing doctorate is. I know I've been there, and doing doctorate really requires a lot of commitment. Yeah,
Correct.
requires a lot of commitment from individual. It's just that I have this picture. I would like to show, and maybe you can say something about this picture.
Okay, that is me in one of the conferences that I had ran. This was I think it was the last physical event that I did.
Ah,
That was in Dubai. We had I was running a conference on MENA PPP, which is the public-private partnership conference, and yeah, so that was in 2020. February, end of February. Yes. So little did we know that when we were traveling, then that would be my last physical conference to run. Yeah. So yeah, it was a bit challenging. It was everything was fine until we got on site, and then we started hearing about this virus. That's so only when we got on site, then we realized people were hesitating, and we were a bit worried, like, will people show up, what's gonna happen. Yeah, so but luckily we at that time it was, I think it was okay. We ran it, everything went smoothly. Attendees
mm,
showed up, speakers still committed and showed up. But it was just few days after we had finished the event. I think after 2 days, then the Dubai government announced that they're going into like a semi lockdown.
ah.
Yeah.
So meaning to say that this was done in 2020.
2020, yes, that's
Wow,
right.
that means that is after the all those commotion about, because I remember the commotion was in September 2019. Yeah.
Yes,
So
but
that means February 2020. That means you still, or you lucky girl. That means you can still travel to Dubai and hold a physical event. Yeah.
yeah, I think because back then the perception was the virus was only in China, and all of us were confused, like probably it's just another flu, right? So okay, we all get flu all the time, so you know, and then it's just how it spread so fast. That was, I think, that's what the unpredictable part. Yeah.
So how do you? I mean, I know you are running an event management and all those things. How do you like? Uh, how do you feel that you have done the event, which is physical, and then you managed to complete it, and then after that the Dubai government do a partial lockdown and all those things. Do you manage to exit Dubai at that point of time, or you're stuck in Dubai? in those things?
Yeah, yeah, we managed to exit Dubai. It was fine. I think back then there was no like rules and regulation on. There was no ban at that moment, so it was fine. It's only at that point I had scheduled another flight to go to Bali,
Mm.
to Indonesia to join my sister, and yeah, because little do we know that there will be lockdown and all, but there was just precaution. So at that time in the Dubai event, the hotel helped us, set up some sanitizers, and they were very like efficient in that way. I think even them, like the hotel that time, they were not prepared for such thing, but they still went out of their way and helped us prepare for that. But in terms of travel and all, at that time there was no issue. I think at that time there was no strict regulation on how it's going to be. Yeah,
Mm.
so there was no issue exiting and entering Dubai at that time.
Wow. So this is what we talk about ordinary people taking extraordinary actions. That means you exit Dubai and then instead of coming back to Kuala Lumpur, you take a flight back to Bali. That's what you're saying, right? So that means when you are Bali, what happened? I mean, is there a lockdown? Because I believe Indonesia is also facing the same pandemic. I mean, same crisis. I think this pandemic is not only affecting Dubai, or it's actually, as I said earlier in
Mhm.
the intro, it's affecting the whole world actually.
Mhm.
So how were you able to get out from Bali after that?
Okay, so what happened is that we finished the event end of Feb, beginning of March, and then from there I went to Indonesia, and that's when uh, the the lockdown was
Ah,
announced in Malaysia itself.
okay, okay,
Yes, so in Indonesia, I think at that time there was no also there was no lockdown.
okay.
Yeah, it's just while we were there, we heard that the government is making announcement, and then we were trying to like, okay, should we book to leave back, and getting flight before that actual date was not available. So what happened is we got stuck in Bali for about I got stuck for about 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I was not able to return to Malaysia. Yes, for 4 months. So that was a bit challenging, but also I guess exciting also.
Okay. Oh, I should have googled some images of you in Bali so that I can. But 4 months in Bali. I mean, it is quite a vacation. Is because Bali is a nice place. Yeah.
It is, yes, it is. It's a very nice place, and I think this time it was a different experience for me because when we went there, all the people around us were in similar situation. They were
Mhm.
all stuck there. Travel was not allowed anywhere else, so some people couldn't even go back to their own country because of flight restrictions. So yeah, it was a nice experience to sort of like connect with all those people and make friends, make new friends, and helped each other out and kept each other sane, I guess.
Yes, yes, yes. I think no, I think that's what is important. Keeping yourself sane
Yes.
in this insane world. Yeah, I think connecting with people really helps us to feel at ease. Yeah, with the
Mhm.
situation. Yeah. So that I mean, after that, after 4 months, you managed to
Yes.
fly
So
back to
once
Malaysia.
once
Yeah.
the Malaysian government announced that now they're accepting foreigners with who are employed in Malaysia can come back. So I managed to come back. So it was also a scary process, having to fly during COVID. You still don't know what to expect. Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Please share. I think I think the audience would like to know the real experience because all this while we've been reading from the papers, and then I mean, I remember watching the news where a flight coming in and a lot of people doing sanitization and then being quarantined in the hotel and all those things. So, how was your experience when you fly back to Malaysia from Indonesia at that point of time?
yeah.
That was the pandemic.
I think it was just like the whole uncertainty still like okay, like you should do COVID test, and then like some will tell you to you should do it like few days before coming in, and at that time it used to take like 5 days for it to come out, and then I think mine came out just 2 hours before my flight. So I had to go and collect it on my way to the airport. And yeah, and also a lot of rules, like you some say like you need an official letter from the embassy saying that you can come in, whereas when you call they're like it's okay. So it was a lot of going back and forth, but I understand it was a pandemic. Everyone didn't know what to do. So yeah, I was not allowed on the plane for until the last call, because they needed to do some checking, and that was very scary for me. And they even told me
No,
that,
I,
yeah.
I think I can. I mean, I cannot understand because I'm not in that situation, but I can
Yeah,
empathize with you on that. You know, the scare, the fear. You know, whether
yes.
will I make it the flight or not? Will I make the flight or not? Well, I mean, where's the result? What's the result? And you got the result 2 hours before the flight. My God.
Yeah, so it was a crazy experience.
Okay, all right, all right. And then when you arrive in Kuala Lumpur, how was the reception and all those things?
Oh yeah, it was perfect actually. Like because uh, in Indonesian airport, I was told like, okay, you can go on your own risk. We're not sure if the Malaysian government will let you in.
No?
But, so even during this whole 2.5 hours of flight, I was very stressed. But once I got in, it was just amazing. Like I think the hospitality was nice. The process it was quite fast. And yeah, immigration, there was no hassle. All the MOH staff were there welcoming you, telling you on the steps you need to do, what to download, and briefing you. So yeah, it was smooth from there onwards.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you were quarantined in a hotel or any quarantine center, or are you allowed to do home quarantine or what? You
Yeah,
know?
at that time I was lucky because they had allowed home quarantine at that time, and then
Mm.
after that, I think in 2 weeks they changed the rule to hotel quarantine. Yeah.
No,
But
but I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the authorities and all other agencies are being very accommodating and helpful
yes,
during those stressful period. I think, yeah, I think we
correct.
should give them a hand, yeah, to
Yes.
all those frontliners and all those people who are uh, being working very hard during the COVID-19.
Agree. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experience because this is a first-hand experience from the person who has gone through this quarantine and all those process. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Now, tell me, Seema, about the work that you are in. You know, because you talk about event management and all those things. Yeah. Can you share like you are running a physical
Hmm.
event, and then during the pandemic you have to switch mode. How do you find your experience in switching the mode to virtual event, and what are the challenges, the pros and cons that you are facing in all these things, please?
Sure. Okay. First, maybe I would just like to start by introducing what I do, and the nature of my work.
Yeah, sure.
So I think maybe some of the audience are not familiar with corporate events, because most often than not, when people ask me what do you do, I say I'm in the event industry, and that's a bit broad because some people assume that, oh, I could be in the entertainment events, or I could I'll be organizing gala dinners or wedding planners. So while I think that's amazing, it's a very interesting industry to be in. But I am in the B2B events industry, so mainly specializing in conferences. So, as a producer, I come from a producer background. I usually produce the event
Mm,
content, invite the speakers, and generally manage the overall event. So, yeah, in B2B events, what we do is we bring in people, we try to get them engaged because of the quality of the people that they're hearing from, and eventually we want to make them come out thinking differently about their business, and add value in that
mm,
sense.
mm, mm,
So yeah, as a B2B event company, I think we work closely with the L&D departments of the respective organizations and C level. So yeah, I think if you can put it in a way that business events or corporate events were trying to contribute a lot to the organizational growth of those companies, by giving them trainings, conferences, meeting like-minded people in the industry. Yeah.
Okay. So no wonder you said that usually you will be on the other side inviting
Yes,
speakers
that's
and
right.
guests. So all this while that means during your conference event and also you will be calling and inviting
Yes,
speakers to speak
yes, yes,
and now you're on the other side where
yes,
you are invited to speak.
yes, correct.
How, how, how,
This is
how,
new
do-
for me.
well, can you share your experience? I mean, all this while you've been inviting people, now you get invited. How do you feel? I mean,
Of course, it's a nice feeling. I'm not sure. Like there was a lot of nervousness on whether should I do it or not because it's a first. But I guess yeah, I feel honored and thank you. And I guess it's also nice. Maybe if any other event person who's attending or could hear the video later, hopefully there will be some key sharing point, or it's all about sharing your experience and
yeah.
what others could learn from, especially in this uncertain time. Yeah.
Okay, now you were saying that you are shifting from, I mean, you are B2B event. I mean, that's what you do.
Correct.
Um, uh, I mean, you have told us a story about the Dubai physical and all those things
Hmm.
conference.
Hmm.
How does the pandemic has affected the business that you are in? I mean, the thing that you are doing right now.
Oh, well, of course, it did affect in so many ways. So I think I could say it was like a roller coaster, right? So, of course, just like any other industry, events industry was affected a lot in this pandemic. So I think one challenge for us is having to basically um, to switch from physical to virtual. So changing the delivery method. And another challenge is the handling. So like I said, um, in fact, I can share one example.
Sure.
So um, also last year in March, end of March, I had also produced an event that was supposed to happen end of March, and we have already registered over 200 people signing up for the event. So then at that time we were not certain like on what to do. Should we go ahead with the event or not? So I was still managing that while I was stuck. And then I think the Malaysian government announced just 1 week before the event that there'll be a lockdown, and we had to cancel the event. So that's just one example on
Ah,
how we were not ready to. I think we postponed the event, and eventually we had to cancel the event. So there was a lot of uncertainty in that way on the handling part, how to go about it, and but later on, I think so. Of course, that's one thing, and then the other thing I believe COVID did disrupt the industry in so many ways.
yeah, yeah,
So of course, like the saying goes, with every crisis comes an opportunity. So
yes.
I think yeah, it did disrupt the industry because previously we have been very conventional in the sense just we mostly know how to run physical events,
Yeah.
bringing in people face to face. So we had to start learning all the new platform, and I think at that time it was crucial to decide on whether you want to just take a wait and see approach, or just embrace, learn the new platform available, and take your events
Mm,
online, right? um, so yeah, it's been a journey, and I think right now my current organization is we're doing a lot of virtual event.
Ah,
Yeah.
do tell the challenges, especially I think the audience. There's one person that here comments. Thank you, Nawid, 26. Hello, Nawid. He says that event. I thought only music concerts. Thank you for clarifying. Navid, where you are viewing this from, Navid? Maybe shout in the box, and so that uh, we can respond to you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. That's Navid. So no, you yeah. Do tell about your the experience when you are holding the you will talk about platform and all those things.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe you can share with the audience as to how you shift, how fast do you shift, what
Mhm.
sort of challenges that you face in terms of talent. I think, as you said, a lot of people are so used in the conventional event and all those things,
Mhm.
conventional way of running conference and all those things. So it requires a lot of, I think, learning actually to migrate to using a new platform, and then in
Mhm.
terms of skill set and all those things, people need to really learn new way of doing things. What was your challenges and all those things you
Yeah.
may share?
Sure. So yeah, I think it has been challenging, but like I said, it was a much needed change. So we started off, exploring, learning new platforms. Especially like for me, I started to learn. Um, we all started off with the Zoom and Cisco WebEx.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the first platform we started using, and I think the the challenge for us it was, yeah, first of all learning all that, and especially with this platform, you have to keep be you have to be up to date,
Mhm.
because if you don't catch up within 1 month, then suddenly it's been updated, like, oh, now you can do this with this platform, that you didn't know. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, and also I think the biggest challenges with people always assume, like, it's easy, just shift your physical event to virtual event, but I think it's that's not how it works. So there's
Okay.
a lot of other factors involved. For example, like as a conference producer, I need to look at the content perspective. So of course, you need to know how to cater that content into an online event. So you need to know whether doing 8 hours, 7 hours
Oh yeah,
will be as engaging as with physical event.
yeah, so true.
Yeah. So and also, but I think also there's opportunity. For example, like with virtual events now, you get to have so many speakers,
Mm.
and also you're not limited, right? So if you're doing a virtual event, previously with physical, we used to do like country specific or region specific, of course, because like that's when people are coming into the event, flying in. But with virtual, basically, the world is your limit. If you're planning to do it virtually, then you can invite speakers from all over the world. Make the content more of quality content, right? So that's also one example. What we did last month, we had one event on Islamic fintech.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice because as an Islamic fintech, it's a very niche market or industry, you would say. So what we did is we managed to bring in like the whole Islamic fintech community into one platform. So it was very nice to see like people sharing their experience from Asia, Middle East, Africa, Europe, and even US.
Mm.
All coming in sharing their experience. So yeah, and we managed to bring in 50 speakers plus. So yeah, usually if you were to do that physical event, that there will be more challenges to that. So I think, yeah, there is opportunity, and moving to virtual, but also um, there's other factors need to be considered, right? And especially like I think nowadays we're hearing this term. I'm not sure if you heard it, but like people are zoomed out. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think a lot of people are having to attend back-to-back meetings during, in their jobs, and endless meetings, client meetings. So then for them having to attend a 2 full days conference can be a bit exhausting.
No,
Yeah.
that's why. Uh,
Mm,
mm, that's why I would like to. I mean, for you to share with us is that
mm,
uh, how do you go about reducing the we call it the screen fatigue, running people, I mean, having speakers from 50 I mean, having 50
mm,
speakers, yeah, 50
mm.
speakers, regardless what platform, and if people were to sit down and listen, look at the screen for 3 days, 8 hours a day, I think. So how do you guys? That means apart from content, how do you? What about the programming and all those things? So do you your scheduling and those things? How do you go about uh, uh,
Yeah.
addressing the challenges?
Sure. So I think, yeah, there's still some challenges when it comes to that's having virtual events, and that's one thing, which is the engagement. So I think the best we can do, like from as event as producers and event organizers, I think try to utilize whatever tools there is there. For example, like with virtual events, I think our best engagement tool would be the Q&A,
Okay.
right? So I guess really we have to emphasize on bringing in the moderator that can address those specific and heartfelt questions. Because otherwise, people, we have to give them some value, because otherwise people will be like, why are we attending this event? We can just watch the recording later, or
Mm,
we will just watch the videos on demand, like so give them something to be excited to attend on site, so they'll be able to communicate with those expert speakers rather than just having to listen to their talk, right? So yeah, Q&A, make sure you utilize the Q&A, give enough time for the attendees for their questions to be answered. And also I think the key is having a moderator that address those questions. And yeah, I think while having like panel discussions and all is great, also try to bring in speakers that could break the ice in a way. So I remember we did one event. It was called on education, future of education learning, and we brought in the speaker, Charles Fadil. He's actually an author of 21st Learning Century Skills.
oh, okay.
So it was very interesting because he was showing us videos of the future of learning and the AI and machine learning. So there was a lot of like video clips and just pictures keeps popping up, and the audience are were very engaged, and asking them question like, what do you think this is? And so this could be, it's basically yeah, um, a way to captivate the audience so they don't get so distracted. Yeah.
All
And
right.
of course we've had many, like also other amazing speakers recently, like Neil Cross. He was also identified as the world's most disruptive CIO. So yeah, it's basically try to focus on the content, whether you're a producer or even the speaker. Try to work with the speaker to have an engaging presentation. So that's one way to captivate the attention of the audience.
So
Yeah.
there must be a lot of Zoom calls, or I mean virtual conferencing before the event and all those things. So you will be spending a lot of time on the screen yourself. So you need to relieve your screen fatigue. In fact,
Yes, correct. I mean, there's no way to relieve the screen fatigue. I mean, unless we become as innovative as Netflix, where people just want to be hooked on the screen and watch Netflix. So yeah, probably try to innovate in a way to um, just, I think, just give them quality content and engagement. But that's also still like one of the things that we we would like to address. So again, that goes back to technology, but that's still the limitation of virtual events, right?
yeah.
So yeah, working with different event platform, it has been, of course, I understand, like since the pandemic started, a lot of event platforms are coming up right now. So as compared to last year when we started virtual events, right, it was just like limited platforms that we could use, but now there's so many out there. And this is really amazing to see like how these event platform developers worked very quickly to come up with different platforms. So yeah, so I had to attend a lot of meetings. I had to like find out what is the best platform out there. So like you said, there was a lot of meetings not only with the speakers but also finding the right platform for the event. So yeah, I think I I could give like some examples of the recent
Sure, sure, sure.
yeah, so of the recent platforms that we saw. So I'm seeing like one of the platforms is it has this feature of speed networking, you know, where you attendees go in there and then they start seeing the faces of the attendees coming out. So you have like few minutes to chat and talk with them video, and once your few minutes is up, then it's swipe to
Ah,
another attendee. So that's called like speed networking.
ah,
So yeah, that's usually we do in physical events as well. But you know, I'm glad to see that this feature has been moved to virtual. Yeah,
yes, true, true. Because I mean, some of this platform has existed way before the pandemic. I mean, like Zoom has existed way before pandemic, and then
yes,
you have this Google Classroom has been there before the pandemic, and I think this pandemic have accelerated a lot of developers. That's why you see a lot of the virtual platform are mushrooming, and then
correct,
during the pandemic, trying to get hold of a webcam can also be a challenge because everybody is running out of stock
correct.
because everybody is buying the webcam. And when talking about Q&A just now, yeah, talking about
Mhm.
Q&A and all those things. So, if you have any question, if you have any question, please by all means, uh, post it in the comments, and we will be more than happy to take it through, if we are able, yeah. And while we are on that, there is a comment coming from Sarmat Mubarak. Uh, Samad Mubarak. I do apologize if I didn't say it correctly, but Sarmat Mubarak. Very interesting session from industry point of view. I think pandemic has brought a lot of opportunities for event industry, as well as along with the changes. Yeah. I think he is complimenting you about looking at the looking at I think not only you, and I think everyone in the event management who looking at ways and means to do things differently. And then there's another comment here from Farah Faisal. Farah Faisal, have you ever had clients who assume viral events cost less
Virtual.
than physical events? Seema, I think this one is a very a good question, because a lot of people think that doing virtual is cheaper, but I think there's a lot of more investment that is required
Correct.
in doing virtual event.
So,
Can you share your experience on this, where clients
sure.
think that?
Yeah, so obviously this perception was there when it first started off. Like people were hesitant. You know, this if it's a virtual event, why should we be paying? And people always assume there is no cost involved. But to think of it, actually, this the cost is still the same. We are still having the same operational costs running and doing the event. You know, when we plan for an event, usually it's more than 8 months of planning to start planning for the event. So the cost remains the same. The only changes would be, you know, is changing the venue to an event to a virtual platform. So, and people always also have this perception that virtual platforms are free, but they're not. So Zoom is not free. You know, people always assume Zoom is free. Zoom is free if you want to have less than 14 minutes call, you know, and also the number of attendees. But also, like right now, these event and virtual platforms, they can cost $10,000 plus. if you want to have a platform that incorporates all those engagement tools. So yes, definitely. We've had clients who assumed that, but I think over time, that was only in the beginning. But then over time, I think people started realizing that this is the only way they could have an event. So might as well also adapt. And also, then again, you try to sell to them the value of the content of the speakers. Yeah, I guess we also face the same challenges.
So that means from the event part, and that means how do you convince client that it's not cheaper running a virtual, because we need to invest not only in the platform, but also some people are still using a prehistoric uh, devices, the camera is not clear, and then the internet is still slow. When you are doing virtual, your internet, we are not talking about megabit already, we are talking about gigabit speed.
Correct.
That means you
Mhm.
have to upgrade your infrastructure, you have to upgrade your capex, that means your capital expenditure in terms of your equipment, you have to invest in your platform. You have to, all this while you don't bother about using a headset or a microphone, but with this session now you have to invest in a good quality microphone, a good quality system, so to speak, to make sure that the quality of the audio visual is there. Even though, because I mean, to share with you, when I was lecturing, I mean, every time when I was lecturing face to face, I just bring my laptop, and then there's a projector in the classroom. I just switch it on, hook it up, and then that's it.
Correct.
I just rely on my laptop. But when we're doing online, it's totally different ball game now. And I have to learn from the gamers, the
That's
streamers. How did they actually do virtual? I mean, races and all those things.
mhm.
And I see, wow, there are a lot of investment that needs to be done. So doing virtual, to me personally, I mean, maybe I can be wrong, but doing a virtual event can cost more than a physical event, because sometimes you can negotiate for venue with the hotel. They can throw in a conference room at a discount, because you are bringing about 250 guests coming in for 3 days and 2 nights. So that's from my point of view. I mean, maybe you can share some of your stories. Whether is that how you see things in that way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with you, and there is definitely a cost. Like I said, the cost is the same with the operational cost, and then you have the event platform cost. Obviously, the venue cost is not there, but then that's still, I would say, probably not more, but it's still there. There's still a cost involved, and I think, like you said, you have to ensure that everything runs smoothly. Unlike physical event. I think that's why also it was a scary experience for me. So usually for event organizer, those usually who are used to running conventional conferences, yeah, they really don't have the means to usually. I think the max we used to do is like running a webinar at max, right? But this is different. So it can be a scary experience, because when you're at a physical event and something goes wrong, like you're something the you have your AV guy running up to fix it, and that's still okay, because like you have your MC who can engage the audience, crack a joke, or take Q&A, or people will be talking amongst each other. But when it's live and the speaker freezes, then I think that the attendees will probably just log out of the platform, right? So again, like I said, it's the engagement and retention. It's still not there with virtual events. So um, yeah, we have to ensure that we invest wisely, because since people are paying for this, of course, you need to ensure you have all the right tools to do that. But then again, sometimes we don't have control over the speakers, right? The speakers' connectivity, internet. So that
Hmm.
is bound to happen. Yeah, so that is bound to happen. So that's still one of the challenges that we face. So no matter how many dry run we do with the speakers. It's still on the event day. If something goes wrong or the connectivity drops, then that's again part of crisis management. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, one last question from me is that, what about the people that you engage? Because they are so, I mean, the staff that you're having,
Mhm.
they're so used to physical event. When you move to virtual platform, do you have a talent gap or skill gap in the people, or do I mean, apart from you, you go for your own training, but what about your staff? And then how about the hiring of new staff? Do you hire new staff so that
Mhm.
they are able to take up all this new way of doing things?
Yeah. So basically, like as an event organizer, we usually have different departments. We have the production, and then you have the marketing, and you have the sales, and you have the operation. So I think when it comes to running events, the other departments then not so much, but they still had to be briefed and trained on still being able to use it and how to communicate with clients, if anything, right? But our challenges, we had to partner or outsource
Mhm.
the tech guys, to run those virtual events. And yeah, and like I said, for virtual platform, yes, it's great, it's provide the support, but then again, there's still some features missing. Like, as event organizer, we plan for months to run the event over the few days, and then we try to outsource those people, or the event
Hmm.
platform people, to help us run the event. But then they are not event organizers, so they don't come
Hmm.
from the event organizing background, right? So I think, yeah, that gap is still missing. So I hope what we can see in the future, if all those event platforms, they can communicate with event organizers like us, to be able to address the missing features. For example, like I said, there's been a lot of great event platforms out there, but um, for example, like, this is our venue right now, right? This is our venue, the event platform is our venue. But so I think if we can be able to customize it um, to our needs, that will be great. For example, if I want to feature as a speaker, or a sponsor to be here at this top, rather than for it to be there alphabetically, so yeah. So, and also, like, if I want to put the moderator in the middle and then have
Hmm.
panelists all around him, so that sort of customization. And of course, there's much more I can't think of at the moment, but
Okay, no problem,
usually
no
that
problem.
all comes up before the event, and then I forgot to write it down.
There's one more question coming from Ayman Yusuf. Yeah, Ayman
Mhm.
Yusuf. Question here. Seeing that virtual events are convenient and not costly, will the event industry go back to the face to face after the borders open? No, a good question. Or will there be a mix of both virtual and physical events? I think this one. Can you? I think you're more. You're talking about it the other day about it. Yeah, okay, please.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes, definitely. So, um, like what we have seen so far running virtual events, virtual will stay. But right now, with things opening up, relaxing SOPs, of course, a lot of them will be doing physical events, right? We'll be moving to physical events. But I think moving forward, we are going towards hybrid events, right? So it's so still for us, from an event organizer point of view, it's very challenging, because, like, we have an event at the end of this month, and we were planning to have it physically when we planned for it, because back then, I think, things were relaxed, and they were announcing by October things will be opened up. And then the cases started spiking up, and then we're like, okay, maybe let's do hybrid. Right? And now, after the whole lockdown, then it's completely virtual. So you
Okay.
see, there's still the uncertainty in planning events. So it's very hard for us to get the sponsors to commit, the exhibitors to commit, because they're like, okay, we're committing now, but then how can you ensure that this will run physically? No, we can't guarantee, right? We cannot guarantee that it will run physically. So
Yeah.
it has to be, um, um, yeah, I think virtually is what we're planning to do. Even for our upcoming event, we're planning for it to be, sorry, hybrid, in a hybrid model. So it will be a mix of both, to answer the question. And also, I think it depends on the objective. For example, like if you're planning to do a conference that is mostly content driven, and you just want the people to come in and speak, people to hear from those experts, right? Then I think your best bet will be to have virtual events. Then you'll be able to gather everyone around from all over the world, right? If the objective is just for them to knowledge sharing, right? But then if the objective is like networking, meeting with the exhibitors, matchmaking, then of course physical is the way. So I think really, you need to identify what is the objective of the event. Yeah. And I think also what I'm hearing from some peers in the industry, and from what I'm reading, is that some events are actually moving into what they call, they realize, like, I don't know if that will work, but some of them are doing, instead of 2 days 3 days virtual events, then they're moving into like one day per week, or 1 hour per week, for the attendees to listen to
I
this. And then
see.
every week there'll be one speaker. So instead of running 2 day or 3 days event, it's going to be weeks long, right? So they're trying to build more of a community based, subscription based. So if I'm doing an event for banking professionals, then I'm creating a community for them. And then yeah, so I think really depends on your objective. Now there's so many ways to do it. So I think that's again one of the advantages. We have so many ways to do it. So just need to know what is your objective, I guess. And
Okay, thank
then,
you, Aiman, for the question. Seema,
yeah.
I mean, very insightful. And maybe before we part for the night, for the morning, actually, any last words that you like to share with your audience before we say good morning to everyone?
Okay, well, yeah, it has been very, very challenging for us, as event producer, event organizer. But I think for me, the advantage for, I mean, the best part, the, how to say, the best experience for me, or something that I like to see keep going, is
Mhm.
that as event professionals, it has been very nice to see that we came together as a community. So previously we were really, all of us are just in their own bubble. We're always looked at as competitors, so you can't share much. But we really have came together and supported each other. So whether it's through my peers, sharing with each other what has worked for us, what didn't work for us. So it has been a nice learning curve, and seeing us as event professional, out there. And I'm seeing a lot of conferences also, on for event organizers, which usually doesn't happen. I mean, there was few before, but now it's just more. You know, so it's really nice, and I hope to see that continues, because at the end of the day, this is our career, and it will be nice to be connected with like-minded people. So yeah, I think there's an event, I think, happening next week. It's called Like-Minded, Event-Minded. Sorry, Event-Minded. So it's for the event professionals. It will be nice if we could join, and the best part is free. So
Okay.
yeah, and I think my last words for the producers is just really key quality. So of course, with the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of changes, not just in the way it's handled, but also in terms of topic, right? So what used to be okay then, now it's different. The market demand is different. So keep up to date with the latest trends, latest topic. And since we work closely with the L&D department, I think try to figure out what is their future plans, or for example, like I think what used to work before maybe now will reduce, like if you talk about technical skills, and soft skills, maybe that won't be required much for physical events, because I think people will realize, like, okay, this can be conducted through an online course and or pre or recorded, then our staff can just watch it, take exam, finish the course, save costs, save money, right? But yeah, topics like cognitive skills, leadership, crisis management, I think, yeah, these topics will be there, definitely. And I think the yeah, just content is key, and I think keep up to date with trends. Yeah, embrace the new. I think yeah,
Okay.
embrace the new, because I think this is one example. But then in the future, I think maybe there'll be much more things that we need to embrace, like technologies are advancing so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, true,
Yeah,
true.
next thing I think we will have like a facial recognition registration, or like AI in place, that it's gonna come to the event industry. It's already there, but it's just maybe in the events industry. Yeah, so
Okay, Seema, I mean, that's the time that we have for tonight.
oh, okay. Sorry, yeah,
Uh,
time.
Sincerely, thank you very much for your time, for being with us through 1 hour of this session.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the questions that was posted earlier.
And what we'll do is that maybe maybe I will bring you back in 6 months' time to see how things are progressing in event management
Inshallah.
uh, after post pandemic, because I know October they're going to open up their borders and all those things. So maybe things are getting changed.
We're looking forward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
inshallah.
And thank you again, Shima, for being with us this morning, a very early morning. And before we say goodnight, I would like to
Thank you
uh,
so much. Yeah, thank you
thank
so
you
much for
for
having
having
me.
for
Then,
having
then I
attended.
will say selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
thank you very much. All right, that's Seema talking about event management and how the pandemic has changed the landscape of the business. Yeah, and like any other business, I think the pandemic has affected every one of us, so including the including the event management companies. Yeah. With that, I would like to bid you a very good morning and a very blessed Sunday for everyone here in Malaysia. And time to say good morning. Yeah, and please stay safe and follow the SOPs, and never ever ever let your gut down. Again, thank you very much for viewing with us, and thank you for engaging with the questions and comment. It has been a very eventful session and a very interesting session, and great insights from Seema as to the journey, her personal journey from being uh, going through all those quarantine and whatever have you, as we go along, and then the future of event management and how to move forward. With that, I sign off, and thank you very much for staying with us. And I'll see you guys in the next weekend, where we're going to talk about change. Yeah, is project management or project leaders really change? And it's going to be a very interesting topic again for many project managers. And with that, I bid you good morning and have a blessed Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That's right.